This is Love Marlene 411, your channel for all of the things, the trauma healing. And today with my co-host, Miss Nexie.
Hello, Miss Marlene. Hi, everyone.
Yes,
How are you
well,
doing?
doing good. Another episode, Miss Nexie. And you know how we like to start it off.
Yes, ma'am.
What are you sipping on today?
Plain old coffee. Oh, and some water on the side. Infused water, to be exact. I did it this time with cucumbers and lemons, and it's delicious.
So you got fancy on it.
Yes, towards the end of the summer. Just think about that, Miss Marlene. The entire summer I've been drinking regular water. I don't know, out of the blues, I remember I used to make infused waters and I loved them. So I made one yesterday and that's what I've been sipping on. How about you, Miss Marlene? What are you sipping on?
Well, it's nothing exciting, Miss Nexie. It's just a little cranberry juice. That's all.
Ooh, healthy, huh?
Just a little cranberry juice. Yeah, that's it.
Did you put a lot of ice on it? Did you
Yeah.
add water? Any fruits? Anything?
No, I don't have anything fancy schmancy like you.
Whoa. If I didn't move, that rock would have hit me.
Sure would have. Boulder
Oh, Miss Riley's just jealous today. She's just plain old jealous today.
today. It's all good. Okay, Miss Nexie, let's get into this heavy, deep subject today. I don't say that word here on the channel, but we're saying ABUSC. We're just gonna say what we're gonna say instead of just abuse. We're just gonna use the
Yeah, let's abuse it.
okay.
Let's abuse it. Let's abuse that abuse it. Yeah, let's abuse it, Miss Marley.
Miss Nexie, this topic talking about in marriage, the verbal, emotional, and physical abuse that so many face. It's really a lot of people they suffer in silence because people think, okay, you're married, you chose them, so you have to take it. It's till death do you part. But there's a lot of things that people put up with that they shouldn't.
Yeah, and another thing, Miss Marlene, I know you probably did some research on this, right? You probably did some. You're better than me when it comes to that research thing. But a lot of times, Miss Marlene, I feel that we put up with it. A lot of us do. I'm not saying everybody goes through that. We're talking about yours and my experiences, right? But a lot of us put up with because through from generation to generation to generation throughout our life, we have been conditioned to believe it as being a normal. So they have normalized it for us. Grandpa
Right.
used to yell at grandma all the time. Oh, sometimes he used to grab the pan and toss it across the room. And yeah, yeah, that's how grandpa was. So that is, normalizing it for you. So once you go through it, because it has been in your circle for so long that you don't even feel it's abuse until somebody else brings it up to your attention. It's when you take a step back and say, hey, wait a minute, that is, and this is not normal.
Yeah, and I want to this at the top of this discussion that myself and Miss Nexie, we're not therapists, we're not telling anybody what to do, we're just sharing our own personal experiences, and always with our experiences that we have gone through in our lives, in our marriages, that we're able to say what we experience. Of course, everybody's experience is going to vary, but one thing that's not okay is to be in a relationship with somebody and they take a toll on you emotionally, verbally, and physically. Okay. So, welcome in, everybody. Thank you all so much for being here. And I did want to start off by saying this about, abuse, that it's okay, it's not okay, and that help is available. And there's many hotlines, there's DV hotlines, there's many other hotlines that we can reach out anonymously and get the help that we need. Okay, I want to start off by saying that part. But also, many people don't know that are being emotion, abused,
Mm-hmm.
in that they don't know it. So here are some of the signs of being in that emotionally abused relationship. You know why we say abused, because we can't say the full, but this is when your partner isolates you from your loved ones. That's one of the signs that it's like red flags should be going off, all the bells, all the whistles. But if you're in a relationship, actually, not a relationship, you have married someone. You're married to the person, and it's not until after the marriage you're starting to see like the real them coming out. And it always both ways, Miss Nexie. We're not doing any gender specific and
Yeah,
saying it's
exactly. I was about to add that up, Miss Marlene, and I want to say something, Miss Marlene. I'm sorry I was muted a little bit. I have someone here that you know it's a lion today, so there's been roaring. So if you guys hear any roaring, please forgive me. Forgive me because I have a zoo here today.
yeah.
But I was muted earlier, but I wanted to say I wanted to add something up before we go through this whole thing is that um you and I we talk about our experiences, right? As you said it in the beginning, we're not therapists, we're not psychologists, we're not nothing. We talk about our experiences, the what that has done to us, as they say it, in the just regular folk type of language, the number, right, that it has done to us, to our relationships with others, to our self-esteem, to things like that. But what I wanted to say earlier, Miss Marlene, is that abused, verbal, and sometimes physical, but not per se to your person. But I will explain kind of what I mean is abuse has been so normalized in our families from generation to generation to generation that it's kind of become the norm, right? When somebody is a husband is yelling to a wife or a wife to a husband, and then some other person comes up, and you probably voice like, "Oh my God, I can't believe they're doing that," and somebody else comes up and say, "Oh my God, don't even, that's nothing. Grandpa used to yell at grandma and toss the can or a glass across the room, and this is nothing compared to how grandpa was." So by doing that, the person that is receiving that information, they're normalizing this abuse. Sorry, they're normalizing this abuse by
Mhm.
saying this is not even close to how it used to be. So this is something normal. Oh yeah, everybody goes through that. Everybody does this. You don't understand that is abuse until you either somebody brings it up to your attention, or you start socializing with other people where this type of abuse doesn't go around, and you start saying, "Hey, wait a minute, so this is normal, so what I'm going through is not normal." So
Yeah.
okay, so there's something going on here. So but again, they have normalized it so much that you do not think of it as abused. You don't think of it as this is not normal. This is doing something to me. It's creating anxiety. It's creating this. You don't see it in that way because, again, from generation to generation to generation, it has been normalized.
Yeah, it has been normalized. So the first point, Miss Nexie, that I want us to focus on is we're looking at the signs because this is very important for us to look for these red flags. If you see this, it's you are probably being abused. Okay. So your spouse isolates you from your loved ones. And how many people now are in these relationships and you have one, either the husband or the wife, and they become a dictator. You can't
Mm.
do anything that they don't want you to do, very controlling, very jealous, possessive. But we're going to get into more of those things later. But this first thing about isolating you from your loved ones, and there is a real reason why there's one partner that isolates you from your loved ones, because if they are the only one to provide you with everything, they want you to depend on them for everything. They don't want you to have friendship and get ideas, because guess what? When you finally realize, okay, I'm being disrespected, I'm being abused, they're gonna, of course, you're gonna, with that knowledge and that power, you're gonna leave them. And
Mm.
that is something that a person who is an ABUSPR is not going to want.
Yeah, there's something there, and again, you're so much better at this research thing than I am because I completely forget to do that. But I want to bring something up to what you just said right now, Miss Marlene, when you said that in a marriage, right? But this is the thing that a lot of us don't understand and don't see because we're so blindly in love is that this doesn't start in the marriage, Miss Marlene. This started as we were dating. The problem is that a lot of us do not see those red flags as we're dating because we're so in love with that person. But they begin with, "Oh, I was gonna hang out with you, but if you're gonna go with your friend, I guess that's okay. Oh, no, 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 I hang out with you. Let me cancel with them." They see you make plans all of the sudden. "Oh, I'm not feeling so well. I wish you were here. I'm not feeling so well. Oh, let me cancel with them. Let me go take care of you." Right? I was gonna take you to the movies. I didn't know today was your day of, friends hangout, and you planned this a week ahead. But anyway, so they do things like this so seldom that you don't get that is a pattern. That this is something that they're doing is taking you away from the people that, if in any case, they will bring it up to your attention. Hey, that is abuse. That is not normal. That is alienation. That is not, a partner shouldn't do that to you, whether you're married or just together with. That person doesn't have that right to do that to you, to interfere in your plans, to get your friends to go away, to every time you're doing something come up with something else, or show up where you're with friends hanging out without an invitation. So these things, they begin as we're dating. Again, this is not something that all of the sudden, as we got married, now he's possessive or now she's possessive. No, 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 no. That begins way before we realize it. When we get in the relationship, either marriage or living together, right? When we get into that is when we start seeing the reality of, because now we're living with this person, those little blinders of love have probably by month number 3 fallen off of our eyes, and we're actually seeing this person for who they are. And that's when you start seeing, hey, wait a minute, how come I haven't heard from so and so? How come I don't hang out with these people anymore? How come they don't come around? And it's because this started way before, but you don't see it. And it has happened to a lot of us, Miss Marlene, without us
Yes.
even realizing.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you said that, Miss Nancy, that it's not just marriage. It's not just in the marriage. It happened way before, but the whole thing is that we have these rose-colored glasses because we're in love, and that's the person we're gonna spend our life with. That's my partner, that's my soulmate. Miss Nexty, and I know some people may not like it, but I think so many people, they romanticize
Oh, yeah.
marriage.
Mhm.
Feel like it's cue the music and it's romance. Everything's roses and sunshine. You're gonna wake up, everything's gonna be great. You get married and it's happily ever after. And that's real life.
Yeah, and again, Miss Marlene, it's not something that people say, "Oh my God, he wasn't like this before." No, no, yes, he was, or she wasn't this possessive before. Excuse me, yes, she was. You know what I mean? It's not something that just happens. It's something they are, but just you couldn't see it. I think that's the best way to put it when it comes to your partner or your spouse or whatever trying to get you away from family and friends.
Yeah, and you know what I think it is, Miss Nexie? I believe this is my thoughts, it's not Miss Nexie, but I believe that people, when they choose you as their victim,
Hmm.
your prey, right? And they know the kind of person that you are. Either you're too kind, you're soft spoken, you're inexperienced, and then they take all of that and use it to manipulate you for the totality of the marriage. And it's not until maybe much later that you finally come into your own, know who you are, what you want, your self esteem starts to build, and then you realize, oh my God, who am I married to?
Exactly, exactly. But again, in that research of yours, come on, what else you got? What else you got?
Hey, you some good things. You know that already. Okay, so here's another sign that you are in an abusive relationship. Okay, and here is the one that I cannot stand. Your partner uses fear to control you.
Yeah. Mm. Yes, actually, that is it uses your fear, right, to control you, or does it use its fear or her fear to control you?
It's a
Because either
combination.
way, hmm
Yeah.
I was gonna say that because either way can work. A lot of times I've seen people that oh well, I was gonna go, but then my husband said he was telling me about it's gonna rain today, and I'm gonna be driving, and what if something happens to me on my way either there or back, and what about the kids, and what about him, or it's gonna be a little too hot, what if I get a something with the heat, and I'd rather just stay in, we'll go next time, or well, we're flying over there, so what if something happens in the plane? Or what if we get mugged over where we're going? What if this, what if that? And if the person is fearful of things like that, or they use the children, Miss Marlene, you know what I mean? You're
Oh,
gonna leave them for this long? Oh my God, what about the kids? What if that creates like some sort of separation issues after you leave? After you're gone for a couple of days, after, you know what I mean, like they use the kids, the fear of the parenting.
oh, Miss Nexie, here's a good one. Oh, but when you go, what happens when whatever your kid's name says, "Mommy, you're not here"? What am I
Yeah,
supposed to tell them? Guilt. It's the guilt tripping and the gaslighting. They're very good at that part. And then
yeah,
drop some seeds of doubt in your mind, and then before you know it, you've talked yourself out of doing anything because now they've got in your head.
yeah. Again, a lot of us don't understand that that on itself too is abused. It's something that when people use your fears against you, or your childhood, right? Your traumas against you, that that manipulation, that is abuse. It's it's a form of abuse, because instead of encouraging you for independence and encouraging you from moving away from all those fears and becoming, a more stronger, a more positive, a more secure person, they use those fears against you to control you. And I've seen that happen a lot, a lot, a lot. There has been friendships, Miss Marlene, that I have moved away from because it was a little too much for me. And I saw it and I said something and I got kind of like yelled at, not yelled at, but a little bit of a harsh tone when saying, that's not why he does it. It's because he loves me. And it was a little bit more than that, but I don't want to go into because this person is probably gonna know who I'm talking about. But it was something like, he does it because he loves me, right? You don't have anyone like that in your life, so you don't understand. And I said, okay, if that's the case, then I cannot be around that type of love because since I've never experienced that type of love, it's a little too much for me. But
Yeah.
you enjoy your love, you have fun. And years later, Miss Marlene, and this is when we were first, married as high school friends. We, how we keep in touch, some of us, and we got married, and we go through that. And I left. I was like after like 3 4 years of us still keeping in touch, and hearing that from this person, I said, okay, I'm done. And I saw this person about 15, no, probably like, no, like 5 6 years ago. It was like 15 years after or more. And I saw her about 5 6 years ago again. And not, they're not together anymore. And then this person is like, I'm so sorry. You tried to tell me, and I didn't believe you, blah blah blah. And again, it's the we were younger, right? We were young and dumb, as they say. We
No,
didn't know.
you were gullible, Miss Nexie. You weren't.
Yes, yes.
You were gullible.
Gullible. Yes, ma'am. And again, inexperienced, right? So I said to her, don't worry about it. I just couldn't be around all that love. And she started laughing. She said it wasn't love. But we talked for a while, Miss Marlene, and the abuse got a lot more abusive. That
Mhm.
person got way out of hand to the point where not even her uncles could visit her anymore because he
Yep.
was jealous of the uncles.
Complete isolation, right?
Yes, complete. That this girl lost a lot. And not talking bad about it, but the fact that to this day she still has that memory, those fears, and it still hurts her. It shows you that it probably did a lot of damage in her. And I remember talking to her and say, have you ever seek counseling or anything like that? Oh, I don't believe in that. That's not for me. I said, oh, okay. No, I was just saying, talk to someone. Like, yeah, that no, we don't, no, that doesn't work for me. I said, okay.
Mhm.
But I was trying to recommend something that she could go get the help she needed, right? But if it does is not for her, doesn't work for her. And I felt like saying, well, you haven't tried it, so how do you know it doesn't work for you? But I didn't want to go into that because it's none of my business, right? You can, tell them exactly what happened to you. I went to therapy, it helped me so much, and I'm a different person, to where they're gonna say, yeah, it worked for you, but not for me.
And
Or
and
it's something for you, but not for me.
also, Miss Nexie, we have to put in that part of, you recommending things to people. People have to be in the state of
Mm-hmm.
mind ready to accept change. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you putting it in your mind, this is not working. She hasn't come to that space that I can't fix this. I need
Exactly. And
help.
that's why, exactly, Miss Marlene. And that's why I backed off. I was like, because I only asked, have you ever gotten any help? Have you ever seeked any like counseling? And right away she shut me down. So I said, okay, don't say it again. Don't say anymore. Keep it to yourself. And that's it. And I left it at that. So, from time to time, we do have, a phone call here and there, but it's not like it used to be. She's not the same person. Like, she's a total different person. Um, not the happy go lucky girl that I knew,
It's
back in high school.
like she's allowed the situation with that ABUSE to break her because some individuals, like ourselves that go through being in a marriage that is, emotionally, verbally, or physically, or and any other type, because there is
Hmm.
financial ABUSE,
Oh,
and
yeah.
there's a lot of things that can happen inside of a marriage. So there's no one size fits all cookie cutter that it has to be exactly like this. But we all encounter some things, but it's the things that when it goes overboard and the person is
Yes.
into any agreement, they're not willing to change or bend, and they make everything about themselves. And they're always the victim. You always did everything, and there is zero accountability. That's when
None whatsoever, Miss Marlene. None whatsoever. And this is the one thing I knew someone that um was in a very abusive, verbal abusive relationship, marriage. I'm gonna say marriage because they were married, to the point where even the kids were very freaked out about their father because they couldn't, like, if the kids were doing nothing, like, let's say you were done cleaning the house, right? Let's say you and I, Miss Marlene, we live in the same household, we're done cleaning the house. What do? We sit down, we grab like a glass of something, like Miss Marlene will get her cranberry juice, I will get my coffee, and we'll sit
yes,
down to either just relax or read a book or watch a show, right? A
right.
movie, a show, whatever. Well, this person could not stand to see either the wife or the children sitting down. They had to be doing something, or he will fly off the top of his, screaming at the top of his lungs. He will fly off the handle. Like, he will go off on this woman and kids. And I mean, bad words, disrespectful towards them, how saying how much, this person works for them, and they're a bunch of slubs doing nothing, blah, blah, blah. So it got to the point, Miss Marlene, where my friend, if let's say she was off this Tuesday, right? Let's say she was off Tuesday. The kids will come home from school, they will do their chores, homework, whatever, and then they will sit down to watch TV for a couple of hours before the father came home. My friend will sit down right in front of the window, kind of hiding to the outside where he will pull in. The minute he did that, she had to turn off the TV, okay? And the kids will go to their room to read a book or do something. Because if he will come home and they will be sitting there, it will be heck to pay, because he didn't want them to be doing that during the week. And then on the weekends, he will wake them up at 7 in the morning to do chores around the house. There was no such thing as sleeping in.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm sorry, but that's that's not normal. You know what I mean? Like, that's not normal. If you cannot feel comfortable, if your children, after they're done with their chores and you're done with yours, if you guys cannot be comfortable enough to just sit around and watch a show, or just in your rooms to just do nothing, if you cannot do that in your own house, in your own home, then why are you there?
Oh, Miss Nexie, I have something, and this is gonna ruffle some feathers.
Uh-oh.
Okay? Yeah. And make sure you have on your boots.
I got him on steel toe.
sometimes, and I'm not talking about that this is only men or this is only women, vice versa, wherever it fits in. Some marriage mates, some spouses, wives or husbands, they feel that you are only there to be their slave,
Mm.
to serve them what they need, because it's all about them. It has nothing to do with you. That's what I've even heard people say that in America. Well, I married you for you to do this. I married you for you to cook and clean and take care of this house. Or I married you so that you would provide and give me money. Well,
Wow. I believe you, Miss Marlene. I believe you because I have heard, you know, things like that. And I have actually experienced with, again, with a couple of friends and sometimes in your own relationship, one way or another, there's something that, is some sort of abuse. You know what I mean? Like, I had a friend who had just had a baby, and her husband, probably 3 weeks into her delivering the baby, was complaining that he was not going to be able to be covering the bills now that she had had the baby, that she's on maternity leave, and I'm going to be paying all these bills all by myself, like I cannot afford that. How am I going to do this? She had to go back to work, Miss Marlene, when her baby was 4 weeks old, and she had to take the baby with her to work because she didn't have a sitter for such a young child yet.
man.
So she had to take him to work, and she started working exactly 4 weeks after she delivered.
Miss Nexie, it's a lot of words that I would I would
And,
say.
Miss Marlene, I and they're no longer together, right? They are divorced now, and she tells me she suffered for many years, suffer from PTSD because of all the yelling, the screaming, the verbal, the monetary, as you said earlier, the inability to be able to be in your home in peace. She said that she had to go through a lot of, you know, meditation, a lot of crying, a lot of therapy, a lot of other things that she had to do to be able to get rid of that. And she still to this day sometimes feels it. But yeah, she had to go back to work 4 weeks later and then take her baby with her for like 3 months until the babysitter felt comfortable enough to take care of the baby. And then she had to leave the baby and go back to work because he couldn't afford to support the entire family for 3 months that she was going to be home with the baby. And mind you, getting maternity leave money. Okay. She was getting that.
No,
But he was complaining all the time that money was short, that oh my God, he's struggling. Oh my God, this is that. And she's like, it was so much that I started losing my hair. I started like not having enough, milk for the baby. I started, having this anxiety attacks, and I couldn't sleep at night. I started losing a lot of weight. And I'm like, oh my God, like how horrible is that, Miss Marlene? You just gave birth to a little human with
mhm.
this man, for this man, and this is the way you get treated? Like, what in the world?
I know this is not, sipping shot after dark, but
Go ahead, Miss Marlene, go ahead.
say this part. There's a lot of issues that happens when, women have babies and then you have a spouse that complains that and I still have my sexual needs, and
Mm,
you're my sexual, hello, I just had a baby for you.
yes.
I went through this
I
major, not about you. It's all about them, their needs. And I hate to say it, Miss Nexel, but so many people get cheated on during the pregnancy and also afterwards. But that's
After
a topic
delivery. Yeah, and again, Miss Marlene, that again is another. Even though it's not the sip and chat after dark, as you said it earlier, but that on itself, Miss Marlene, is also abuse because you're pushing this person to probably do something that is not comfortable with. It can be SEXABUSE, right? That type, because you're pushing for something that this person is probably not comfortable, not capable of doing at this point. And adding more stress into that, just deliver the baby. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things that can count as that.
Mm.
But at the same time, I feel that you said earlier that they can pick them, like they can they see you coming a mile away with all your insecurities and stuff like that, so they know how to get to you or through you.
They most definitely choose their victims, Miss Nexie. Here is another one, a sign of, these ABUSER, right? This is a
Hmm.
sign of them. Hey, Sirius, how are you doing? Welcome.
I'm
Um,
serious.
this is another one that a lot of people don't really talk about when it comes to marriage. They just accept it as okay and normal. But having a partner that uses addiction to escape emotional responsibility.
uh,
So whatever their vice is, whatever they're addicted to, and there's a plethora of things that you can be addicted to. And I'm not just talking about, you know, um, alcohol or drugs. There's lots of things you can be addicted to, PORN sites, and it,
uh,
it's a it's a lot of
Miss
addiction
Marlene,
can
I
have.
gotta give you, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I gotta give you a very something that you probably haven't thought about, this addiction thing. How about someone that is addicted to making money,
Yeah,
sending your wife right after birth because you need that money, because God forbids you're not gonna be able to count with those $2,000 3,000 for that month. It's gonna shorten your yearly, you know, savings, blah blah blah. There's people that are so addicted to making money or keeping money that they are abusers. They are very very horribly um people that get abused. I'm sorry, abuse. We cannot say that word.
it's,
Sorry,
it's all good, Miss Nexie. But
sorry.
you're so right about that, because some people they're consumed when it comes to money. Now, don't get me wrong.
Yes.
We all need money. We're adults here. We
Yes.
know
Mm-hmm.
we know the bills and responsibilities, but I'm talking about when it's it's over. I almost said the word, but you can't say that word either. But it's just too much when it comes to, that's all they think about is they
It's not
obsess.
healthy,
Yeah. They
right, Miss
obsess.
Marlene? It's not healthy.
Hmm.
And
So
that's again, it's to the point where they actually they obsess so much over it because they have a certain life goal, a lifetime goal. They're gonna retire at a certain age. They're gonna do something at the end of the year in this trip, and they cannot afford to. Even when you waste $1, they go crazy because, but last week it was 90 cents cheaper. Like, why did you pay that much this time? And it's like, and they go on and make your life miserable because they are penny pinching everything you do because they want to reach a certain goal. Those are people that also are abusers because they make the household, they turn it into a nightmare. They turn it into a place where people cannot even breathe, that you're second guessing your purchases, you're second guessing, the things that your bills, you're second guessing everything because they are so obsessed, addicted to making money or keeping goals. Like they cannot deviate from that. And I have seen people, many people, Miss Marlene, go through that, and it's sad. And in a way, I kind of went through that as well, like the money part, where it was an obsession that everything had to be run by this person, and we both worked, right? It wasn't like I didn't work. I worked. So but everything had to be, talked about. If we were going to spend a little extra on something, why? And if I went to the store, let me know how much you spend. And it's like, what? So it was very stressful, Miss Marlene. Very, very stressful. And that was just a small part of what the entirety of the marriage was. But that was very stressful to me because in my head, I'm thinking, I work full time. I go to school full time and I'm a mom full time. I make money. It's not like I'm not making it. So why do I have to be telling you exactly how much I spend every time I go? It was so stressful.
Right, Miss Nexie? It's like you're treated like a child instead of an adult.
Well, yeah, that part, yeah, it bothered me. But what bothered me the most is, why do you have to penny pinch on my money?
Oh, Miss Nexie, I can tell you already the reason because we don't understand until after the marriage that you are married to either the person is a narcissist,
Mm.
they're a troll freak, they're a maker, they're a very jealous person, they have a lot of anger or unresolved issues. So, I didn't understand that until being in the relationship like that you don't know who the person really is until you see how they handle situations. If every little thing that happens they become unglued, that that for me is a form of abuse, because
Yeah.
I always felt like I was walking on eggshells because everything upsets them. It's like, why isn't this over here, why isn't it? And then it gets to be, you never do anything right.
Mm. Yep.
And then it's like they want to start an argument or, oh, thank you so much, Nate, for joining membership. I appreciate it.
Hi, Nate.
Hi, Nate. Welcome in. And that for me, Miss Nexie, was like, okay, this is it, because it's not gonna be that some people will think I can talk to you any way I want to. Like people say, I can say whatever I want to. You're my wife.
Try it. I was raised by a dad and three brothers. Go ahead, try it.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Like, do you know what they have in Jamaica? Let me show you. And I'll pull out my CUTLA
Miss Marley.
and Miss Nexie. I'm a very nice, kind, and sweet person until I get pushed. And I
Yeah.
think that is the part where I think that's one of the reasons why people get on these crime shows and and wind up in prison for the rest of their life. You know?
For saying the wrong thing at the wrong time and the wrong day.
It's like
But
I feel like people have all of these things building in them. It's like, and then all it takes is one little thing, Miss Nexie, that is the final straw, and then you snap, and then before you realize, you've gone off the deep end.
yeah, and again, Miss Marlene, we're not saying that everybody is like that, right? That marriage is horrible, relationships are. We're not saying that. We're, you know, the experience that we have had, and s- with relationships and marriages, and also what we have seen in our families, in our family members. And again, a lot of the times, Ms. Arlene, why we go through this, and even though we see a certain, because there is signs, there's early signs when you're like, why is he doing that? I mean, we could have just gone to this place. It's just 50 cents cheaper. Like we were just there, like it's 50 cents more. But We didn't have to drive half a mile more just because here is 50 cents cheaper, right? You see those things, but you don't take them into account as this is how he is or this is how she is. You don't take into account that this is not something that is just going to happen this one time. This is something that happens all the time, and they will continue to happen as the relationship progresses. And there was a
Yeah.
lot of things that I saw, Miss Marlene, in the beginning of our relationship that I was like, oh my God, that's weird. Like, why not pay for that? Like, a professional to do it, or why not hire someone that it's an expert on that and can give you better outcome of the project you have. And well, why pay them? I can do it myself. Yeah, but it doesn't come out as perfectly done as it would with somebody that is a professional in this. Oh, it's the same thing. You just like to overpay for things. And so in the beginning, it was like, oh, how cute. He's trying to save money. Oh my God, he's trying to show that, he can do everything. As the marriage progresses, you start seeing, hey, wait a minute. No, 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 no. It's not that he wants to learn or he wants to do it. It's just that he's a cheap tush and he doesn't want to pay for someone to do it with an expertise on that particular thing so they can come out looking beautiful. It comes all patched up, put together, whatever.
Something else to add to that. So, I'm not saying who it's from, because I'm not getting into those things. I've been around long enough to know, because I'm seasoned. Okay, I think a lot in marriage, like when something needs to be fixed, it also has to deal with they don't want another man coming in
Mm,
because it's gonna
sometimes
it's gonna pop that balloon of their ego. Oh no, no man is coming in here. That means
to do
if
what I can do.
I don't I'm doing and I don't have control over my house. So it goes down this big scapegoat, like, oh, and then this, and if they do that, and who's gonna come in here, and then they're gonna think this about me. It's all about them. It's all about them and what they want and what they need. It's a power trip.
Again, but you see this as you're dating. You just don't get it. Like, it doesn't hit you the right way until you're in the relationship, meaning married or living together. Because those are things that you see that, remember when I told you I went on that date with that boy that took me on the bus and had coupons 2 for 1?
And I see. I still, you know, uh, those of you who haven't heard this before, Miss Nexty, give us a replay of this event.
When I was younger, that's before I got married, I got invited out by a boy that I liked and knew he liked me too. And he invited me out to, on a date. And, we're going to go have dinner, whatever. So when he came to pick me up, because I said, I can meet you at the place, he said, no, I'm going to come pick you up. I thought he was going to pick me up in his car and we were going to go to the place. But no, he picked me up and he had a bus pass.
Let's
He paid
see.
for my bus ride though. He was nice enough to pay for my bus. So we went on the bus, and when we got to the restaurant that we are going to eat, he had coupons, two for the price of one. So
Hold on,
I was treated to a very nice dinner,
Miss.
half the price. But
Pause.
this is the thing, Miss Miley. This is the thing. When I went on that date, that boy hid nothing from me, right? He did it. He showed me exactly who he was. Now, I could have seen that in two ways. I could have been naive enough and say, "Oh, how nice! He wants us to save money, and he's doing it so that we can, one day be married and do this and do that." Or take it the way I did is, no, if this is now that we're dating, I can only imagine when we're married
Wow.
how much worse it's gonna get. So you can see it in two ways. Again, those red flags, Miss Marlene. The good thing is that this boy he had no shame.
Miss Nexty, first of
He was a very secure boy.
Sexy. First of all, he wants to take you on a bus. First red flag.
Yes.
This
But
has a coup.
Miss Marlene, we were 18. We were young. So at this point, some of us didn't have cars, right? So I didn't take that as a bad sign
Nope.
until I saw the 2 for 1. That's when I said, okay, if you take your date, your first date, your first time going on a date with this person, and you pay, you should have hide it, right? Not say, hey, I got the 2 for 1, and you're still honoring that.
Um,
Yeah, so I took it as this is not something that he does, just randomly or just today. I took it as if he has the guts to do it now, that on our first date and everything, this is going to get worse if we continue to date. So, put a stop to that, and I never went out with him again. But, sometimes you see those flags, and sometimes you have those rose colored glasses, as you said in the beginning. And even though sometimes people bring it up to you, you don't believe them because, you're so in love with the person that you think that what they're doing is normal or cute or both.
wow. Because guess what, Miss Nexie, we get so into the mode of how a person looks, how much money
Yes.
their intellectual ability, the families they come from, and on and on and on, that we don't focus on what kind of person is this? We get so
Hmm.
distracted by all sorts of other things. Or, and I know people won't want me to say it, but Marlene's going to say it anyways. People get so involved getting married that you know all they think about is the parties and the fun, but they don't think about the marriage. Is this a person that I can be?
Hmm.
Will I be happy in this relationship? And so many people sign on that dotted line before they even know who they are, much less who they're in a relationship with.
Yeah, who they're marrying. Exactly, Miss Marlene. And again, for sometimes it's obvious as this young man was, and sometimes, there are hints, just subtle hints here and there that you don't like, but you're like, well, he's trying, like he said, he's trying to save for a house, or he's trying to save so that we can have a better car or whatever, things like that. So you kind of, even if you see those red flags, you kind of psych yourself out of them, say, no, like he said, we're saving for this, we're saving for that. It doesn't hit you until, again, you know, those rose colored glasses become crystal clear. And that is when there is no more love to give. That's when you start seeing that person for who they truly, truly are.
Mhm.
Never before.
Yeah, because before you couldn't see it because you were, let's just say, Miss Nexie, we were immature.
In love.
So
We were
we
in love.
love, right? We use so easy with love, or as I call infatuated. And don't forget about this one, Miss Sexy. So much people get messed up in marriage because they let lust control them. It's lust.
Yes. You know, Miss Marlene, I had my cousin, her I don't remember if it was her one of her grandparents, but I think it was on her because she's a cousin on my mother's side of the family, right? So it was one of the grandparents on the father's side. It's or great grandparents, something like that. But something happened, and they were collecting money to send back home so that the grandparent could have a treatment for whatever it was. I don't even remember at this point because it was so long ago. And her husband forbade her from giving any money to send
Wait a
to her.
minute. Hold on. Time out, time out, time. What do you mean? Hey, Miss Nexus,
Yeah.
what? Wait, forbade?
Yes. Forbade.
What? What
Not
year?
didn't agree. I forbid you. I forbid you. That's
Oh,
exactly what he said in front of me. I
hmm,
no, I forbid you from sending money. Everybody else is helping. I'm sure they have enough money. What you don't need to send anymore. I'm sure everybody's gonna collect and there's more than enough to the point where we don't have that kind of money. So I forbid you from touching any of our savings or anything like that to send home. And she
hmm.
didn't. And
It's
I was livid. I was so upset because when I told my her sister what he had said, she pretty much said the same thing you did. Forbid her. I said, "Yep, that's exactly what he said. His words, not mine."
yeah, and
And
that is the reason why, Miss Nexie. I know some people will get so mad at me, and I don't care. That is one of the reasons why I never believe in joint accounts, and nobody can make me believe in a joint account.
Miss Marlene, I'm a believer in having a family joint account, meaning you put half of the bills, he puts half of the bills, and then you having your own private account. That's how I think it should work for me, right? I'm not sure about anybody else. I'm not trying to put words in anybody else's mouth or anybody else's way of thinking. I'm just saying that for me, it worked where we had a family account and half of the paycheck will probably go there and the other half in our private, savings account.
Hmm.
And
I can
everything came out of that account that was household related, kids, the house, repairs, clothing, whatever. It was from that account that it came out of.
Miss Nexie, you know what the problem is? Is when it's supposed to be an hour account, right? Can you tell I've been burned?
Not at all. Not at all. Do
All
tell
right.
me. Elaborate.
When it's supposed to be an hour account, notice I have quotation marks like you guys can see me. It's supposed
I
to
can
be
hear
hour.
them. I can hear them.
You can hear them, right? It's supposed to be our account
Yes.
same time. It's our account, but you are buying things you want to buy. You're frivolous, you're overspending, you're doing all kinds of things, going out, but they don't check in with you when it's money coming out if it's something they want to do. The only time you have to do that check in is when you are spending money.
Mm. I have heard stories like that where people get burned that way. They're like, I will never do that again because this and this and this and this happened. And there are people out there that are very irresponsible with money, right? And with accounts like that. So you have to be careful. Like you have to know who you marry in order for this so-called joint account to work. Like for us, Miss Marlene, my ex-husband was very responsible, so was I. And again, that account was just for family business, and the savings was each other's savings. It had nothing to do with one another. Another thing, Miss Marlene, and I don't know if this is some form of abuse, but when you have to tell your significant other how much you're making, any raise you get, any promotion, any you know end of year, you know.
Like I was saying, Miss Nexie, I'm triggered by anything when it comes to money and relationship, because when you've got, abused, when it comes to financially abused, and you know and it's always that it's okay, whatever they do. Of course, go out. I could go out to eat. I could go out to eat all the time. I can buy the new outfits and this and electronic gadgets, whatever I want. It's all good when it's me. But if I do the same,
Mm,
but when I do the same thing that you just did, okay, you went out to eat. Okay, so did I, but mine is wrong because when I went out to eat,
mm-hmm,
out to eat caused the account to be overdrawn. Hmm. My going out to eat or our?
mm. Again, everybody is different. It's weird because I I have a friend, Miss Marlene, who every um paycheck, like her husband knows exactly how much she makes. And if she has, like, she gets a raise or a bonus or end of year, bonus because of Christmas or whatever, she has to tell him exactly how much is that. And he'll know because they only have the one account where all the money goes into. And if she gets an extra check on the side, she has to tell him. And I'm like, why? Why do you have to tell him? Like, he doesn't know about it. So why do you have to tell him? Oh, no, it's because we share everything. We tell each other everything. And I'm like, okay, but you could use that to, I don't know, buy yourself something fun or, you know, buy your parents something expensive and fun. I don't know. Save it.
No, Miss
Why does he
Maxie.
need to know?
You know why? Because they need to plan how they're going to spend it. Hmm.
Yeah, it's weird. But this is the thing though. If sometimes I feel like I don't feel that she's afraid. I feel that she's okay with it. Like she's okay sharing everything with him,
No,
telling him everything.
Miss Nexie, she's not okay with it. She's living in fear because there's going to
You
be
think so?
yes. Trust me, I've been there, done that. When it comes to financial, you are afraid because you don't want to be in an argument for the next 3, 4 days, weeks, or whenever they remember that you spent money. You spent money, even though they're spending money, but they highlight you, right? Point one
Mm.
finger, they got four pointed back at themselves. Oh, we're not talking about me. We're talking about you, and you didn't tell me, and you, and you, and you, and you have to hear that for days, weeks, or months. So to crush all of that, you just tell them all of it because you just don't want to hear all. What is it? You don't want to get the backlash, the aggravation, and the stress.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because I told her, I was like, hey, this is a bonus. Like he doesn't even know you've gotten this check, right? Our boss used to give us either, checks or cash in our end of year Christmas card. And I was like, you don't have to tell him, right? You don't have to. He has no idea you got this. You can literally spend it on you or put it in a savings account or put it under the mattress. I don't know. But and she'll be like, no, no, we share everything. I have to tell you, we share everything. I'm like, okay. But she didn't seem afraid. She didn't seem like bothered or anything. She was just like, we share everything. And that's the way we do things. And we like it that way. I said, okay, what
No,
can you
Miss
say?
Next. Trust me, she just says that because I know this is going to be controversial to some, but sometimes when you're in a relationship, you get brainwashed into thinking that things are okay, even though you're not okay with it, but you assimilate to it because you don't want the drama.
Mm, that's probably then why. Because it never makes sense to me. Like, if he doesn't know, why not just say, hey, oh, you didn't tell me. Oh, I forgot. Or why should I tell you? It's my money. You know what I mean? Like it was weird to me, but again, she didn't seem in distress, under duress, nothing like that. She was Okay, she actually loved the fact that they shared just a one bank account and a savings account, and everything bounced off each other all the time.
Oh, but Miss Nexie, trust me, she's not okay with it. She just has to do that, or it's going to be an argument. That I'm telling you from experience. I know that very well. When you've been in a relationship where it's they, they want to count your money, but the thing about it is, most of the time, you don't know about their money. The person who is the manipulator, they don't share their money, how much they're making, but they want it. They count yours though.
But it's funny because she makes a lot more than he does because she's a nurse. So she makes really, really good money and she makes a lot more than he does. But she has to tell him everything. It's weird.
You know,
I don't
but
know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Miss Nexie, when it comes to that. When you are in a relationship with somebody, and I'm just going to say it, people will be mad. Be mad if you want to be mad. That's your problem. But sometimes you get into a relationship with somebody and you already knew they were a deadbeat, right? You already know that they couldn't hold
Mhm.
their you knew that they couldn't hold their weight financially. You know that you were going to have to cover them. You know that they were an angry person, but all of it starts bubbling to the surface as the time goes on, and you just kind of just settle and allow and let yourself be controlled until one day you just are like, no more of this.
It's funny because I think sometimes there's I don't know. I guess there's reasons why you do that. Like that I feel that sometimes it's because family is like sometimes pressuring you to stay with this person or be with this person, or I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't even know why people do it sometimes. It's kind of
Yeah.
weird to me.
And for me, Miss Nexon, honestly, I think people get their everybody into their relationship. I've talked about this before that people share too much. Now, there are some things that you can talk about, but I believe in not sharing anything negative. Positive things,
Hmm.
oh, those positive things. Oh, they got a raise, they did this, things are going good with this. But negative things, I believe those are the things that you are supposed to eat and absorb in the relationship. And I'm not talking about toxic things. I'm talking about,
Oh,
you a little a spat, a disagreement, thing, you're having something, you don't have to voice every, and break down your spouse, because I think that's a really bad thing to do. And it's not something that you can easily heal when all you do is complain about your spouse. They don't do this right, and they're mean to me, and they do this and do that. So
y-
around your friends and your family, they're like, oh, here comes the scumbag.
yeah, and I think I had a talk with my grown children as they were getting ready to get married and to start their lives together. I remember my son made a comment, my older son, the one that got married about 2 3 years ago. He made a comment on something, and about the other side of the family, his spouse. It wasn't negative, it wasn't horrid, it was just I guess I will say a little bit negative about someone on that side. So, and then he added something to it, and I talked about, it doesn't matter what kind of relationship you have with me, what kind of relationship you have with your father, what kind of relationship you have with your sisters. When you are dating someone, do not trash talk your family because you're putting your own ideas into that person's head. Allow this person to meet them without your input so that they can form a bond and a probably good relationship. If you are poisoning this person with your ideas or your problems, that sometimes they're two-way street, right? I said you're not allowing them and you're actually robbing them the opportunity to bond with your family. And if she's telling you about negative things about her family, then she's again also hindering your possibility of bonding and having a good relationship with her folks. Because one thing is the problems I have with my child, right? That I'm going to have, of course, because she's my child or he's my child, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to have a problem with their spouses. But if they already come poisoned from them, they're not going to have the ability to have a relationship or a bond with me because they're already going to come with a negative thinking way of thinking about me. So I told my son, don't ever do that again. I said, and make sure that if she says something, stop her and say, you know what? Don't say anything. Let me get to know them first and then we'll talk. Because I
Mhm.
said, you don't just marry the woman, you marry the family. And she just didn't just marry the husband, she married all of us. So if you start poisoning that mind, then we're not going to be able to be the family that, you have always dreamed of us being. And he actually thanked me. He's like, oh, thanks, mom. I didn't see it that way. I said, I know. I'm just letting you know what somebody else let me know when I first got married.
It's what that's what my dad told me a long time ago. I remember I was saying something and my dad was like, "Listen, babe, there's things that happens in your relationship that you need to keep between the two of you." And it's like, unless you want me to be breaking his bones, keep it. Oh, well, you're saying something, Miss Nexie?
Oh, no, no, no. I thought I lost you. I couldn't hear you. So I was like, wait, did I? I thought I had left, but no, I was like, I'm here. I don't know why I cannot hear her, but I can hear you now.
Okay, good. Yeah, and I think that James highlighted that so well in the comment section when he says that money is always a problem in marriage for the first 5 years. And I agree with that, and I don't agree with it. I agree that it's a major problem in the beginning of a relationship, but if there's so many cracks financially in the relationship, it can be the whole marriage
Hmm.
because one is not willing to fix the problem, or their spending habits, or bringing in the income and how they want to spend money. It's going to be a problem the whole marriage unless they fix the situation.
Oh, I want to say something about that, Miss Marlene. And this is something my father told one of my brothers when they got married. So my sister-in-law, I'm not gonna say which brother because they'll know. But one of my sister-in-laws was a girly girl. Every time she came over to visit, or my brother would go take her out to eat or visit the family, whatever, she was always, always very, very nice, very well put together. Cute little makeup and her little dresses, beautiful shoes. She was always very nicely put together. And this is back home where money is always tight. So my brother he was head over heels for this girl because again, she was always so cute, always very nice, very clean, her hair always done, her nails done. And this, I'm talking about 30 years ago, Miss Marlene, probably more. So my brother asked for her hand in marriage, they got married, and you know, probably the first year was beautiful bliss, right? The honeymoon bliss. And
Oh,
probably like the second year he started complaining that she was spending too much. She was like, I mean, everything I make, it's literally going to her, to the house. And I told her she has to stop because, we need to start saving this and that, because back then, women didn't work, right? They got married and stayed home, whatever. So he comes to my dad and he starts complaining about my dad's daughter-in-law at this point because they're married. My father sits him down. He says, "Sit down, sit down. We need to talk." He's like, "What? I already told you that. I just wanted to vent." He's like, "No, no, no. You already vented. Now let me do that. Sit down." And so my brother sits down and he's like going on and on and on about all this money coming out of, his paychecks are very little and she's spending and blah, blah. So my dad tells him, "So she's spending a lot of money, huh?" It's like, "Yeah, everything I make, Dad." It's like, I even told her you have to cut down on expenses, maybe, I don't know, go and to a different store to shop and maybe, just slow down on certain things and don't buy this, don't buy that. And then my dad said, so I remember when you were dating her, didn't you compliment how beautiful her hair was? Always nicely done, put together. He's like, "Yeah, she always has her hair like that. That's beautiful." Didn't you like her makeup? You were always saying that your sisters didn't wear any makeup, but this girl was always nicely put with makeup. He was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And didn't you say that you like her outfits because they were so beautiful, colorful, and she was always nicely dressed and neat and clean? And he's like, "Yeah." So my father tells him, "Okay, you married her knowing that she was someone that required a certain type of lifestyle. She was used to, from her father, in her father's house, she was used to getting ready, getting dresses, getting makeup, getting this, getting that. She comes from that. You knew she came from that. Okay, now she's no longer in her father's house. Who do you think is going to have to fork that bill?" And he's looking at my dad like he's speaking like, English, Spanish speaking household. And he's looking at my dad like confused. And my dad is like, "You don't get it?" He's like, what do you, no, I get it." He goes, "No, I don't think you do." He says, "Everything you like about her, it has to be maintained. She's no longer her father's daughter because she married you. So now the person responsible for all of her expenses is you. You like her to dress a certain way, you like her to look a certain way, you love everything about her. You love that about her, then you have to pay for that because you're her husband." And he's looking at my dad like, and my dad gets up, he goes, "I'm gonna give you a minute for that to sink in, and then call me when you get it."
But Miss Nexie, what I want to say about that is what your dad said is the truth. Like we meet somebody and you see it, the lifestyle that they have. You know
Hmm.
what they're, and it's like they want you to be how you were when they met you, but they're not willing to step up and to maintain that. It's like, when you met them, didn't you used to always compliment them on their nails or their hair or the fresh haircut,
Hmm.
their out, this, that, whatever it is, that their car that they love. It's like I think a lot of people, they expect when you marry them that you're not going to do those things anymore, or they don't realize that the things that you did, it costs money.
Yeah,
And
there you go. That's it, Miss Marlene. I think that the whole point that my dad was trying to make with my brother, and again, this is at a time where women, got married and stayed home. It's not like now we have the ability to work, we have the ability to make as much or probably sometimes more than our husbands now, right? We can do that. We're capable and we're able to. Back then, there weren't many jobs available for girls. So my brother, the way he was complaining, I think my dad caught that. Hey, do you think she's gonna continue to look this pretty? Her father used to pay for everything so that she could look pretty to you, right? According to you. Now, do you think if you want to keep her looking this pretty, you're gonna have to pay like her father did? Otherwise, he said at the end of this conversation, because I remember this, otherwise, you should have married someone like your sisters that didn't wear any makeup. Didn't you used to say that your sisters didn't wear any makeup? Her sister didn't dress as cute as that. So a lot of times, Miss Marlene, I'm someone, Miss Marlene, that is not into brands, right? Like, oh, I'm gonna know the latest purse, the latest, fashion thing, or the latest. I'm not into that. My ex-husband wasn't either. So that was a plus on us. I have had friends that marry people that are into all those things, and then they complain when they marry them because they haven't stopped being into those things. And I'm thinking, well, you knew they were into that type of thing. So why are you complaining now? You think they were going to change because you marry them, or you were going to change them? People don't change. They are who they are. Sometimes they
and
become better.
and I think that's the
Yeah,
thing,
go
Miss
on, Miss.
Next. And I think that's the thing, Miss Nexie. You just highlighted it because they think once you marry, now you're married. All those things you did before that. Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I'm someone that is very frugal. I think you and I are very similar on that.
Very
I
frugal.
know that I'm someone that can make and makes a lot of money, but I'm not. I come from nothing. I got used to very little, and I can live with very little. I'm used to not overspending. Like, if I go to a thrift store and I find a nice pair of shoes that I like, right? If I see them there, they're new or whatever, not new, but if I like them, I can buy them. I'm going to buy them because I like them. I like to do that. I like There's a few Salvation Armies around where I live, and I love going there to buy like plates and cups and things. I know I can afford to get full price, pay full price for this, but why? When the
Hmm.
same thing, you can find it there for literally for free almost, compared to what you're gonna pay because it's in the box that belongs to the designer or whatever. Like, for me, that doesn't matter. I am very frugal with my money. I always like to have enough for a rainy day because you never know. And so I'm not wasteful. It hurts me to spend money when I hear some people, the amount of money they spend on a pair of shoes, and I'm thinking, you're gonna step on crap with those, and you're paying that much to step on crap. No way.
Miss
I
Next
can't do that.
and Miss Nexie, I think you and I are very similar that way because we are Caribbean women. And
Hmm.
we come from knowing a hard life. You know, I
Yes.
didn't wasn't raised in that hard life because, I'm American born, but having immigrant parents, like we were humbled, like, and
Hmm.
I see the life in the Caribbean. I know what it's all about, and we never got to get far from that. So I always have had that mentality of, you can go backwards and you can lose everything that you have.
Hmm.
So that I always maintain a very frugal lifestyle.
But
But the thing
but
about
Miss
that, Miss Nick,
Marlene, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
but the thing about that in marriage, if you're a frugal person, sometimes it goes too far. It's like a
Yeah.
person can a budget so far. Like, okay, I won't waste when it comes to buying clothes and things and dishes and housewares and decoration for the home. But if I've minimally spent on things for in the house, what is the big deal if I will spend money to do my hair or my nails when I've saved us hundreds, if not thousands of dollars? Like, and that's the things that used to be my pet peeve that would make me go red, would be like I am pinching money. So if I spend $200-300, what is the big deal?
Y- Yeah, but you see, Miss Marlene, like, if I'm a frugal person, but I think that if I would have married someone that was into brands or was into spending, every time they get a paycheck, they have to spend because they have an extra 40 bucks. Oh, let's do this because I have an extra this and that. I don't think it would have worked. I think that that would have probably turned into financial abuse, right? Because I'm over here trying to save and earning my money, and then this person is just spending, 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 and then I'm never gonna be able to, have a little bit for a rainy day because this person is over here overspending. Sometimes
Miss
what we don't even have. So I think that's when money abuse is a potential.
Exactly. That is exactly my point, Ms. Nexie. You just said it. That is my biggest deal. Like one person is the saver and the other person is the spender, and that is never going to work. It has to be a balance. You don't expect for somebody to be exactly like you, but it can't be if you have $40. As soon as the $40 hits the account, they've already spent 38, and you're like, what?
Yeah, you just got those 40. Like seriously, you just and I have family members that are like that. And they're in constant argument with their spousals, with significant others, because they are constantly having to be reminded, like, dude, like we just got that. Remember, we need to pay this, we need to buy this. That's why we have to save, but you already spent it. And they're constantly fighting over that. And this is 20 years, 30 years into it. And I'm thinking, why would you stay with someone that doesn't share a little bit of of how can I the burden of life with you, that you're the one always worrying about money and saving and this, and this person is just in la la land doing whatever they want because they also bring a paycheck, right? It can go to the extreme sometimes, when they're upset for days because this person went and bought a $350 pair of shoes because they were the latest of a certain brand and they have a credit card that is stopped up, and instead of putting those 350 into it to lower it down, they went and got this new purse or this new tennis shoes or this new spa treatment or this new hairstyle. So you know what I mean, like when you don't have someone that shares a little bit of your burdens, then you don't have a marriage or a relationship or a partnership or anything like of that sort, because you're both in different places. And that on itself, again, Miss Marlene, because we are in two different places, that can be also a form of abuse. It can be something that, it can be mental, it can be not physical, but it can be mental, it can be verbal, it can be monetary abuse, it can be all of the above, because again, you're not in the same page. So it can
Yeah,
be more detrimental than beneficial to a relationship or a partnership.
absolutely, Miss Nexie. And I want to add to that. You said it can't be physical, but not just physically like combative, but the effects of the stress that can
Hmm.
affect you. I've known so many people in a marriage, and they're very so unhappy that they waste away, like they
Hmm.
shrink little or nothing, or they balloon up because they're eating their pain.
They're stress eating. Yep, they're eating away their pain, or they have health issues that you're like, but you don't even look like that you should be having that because of the size that you are. You're so small. Why are you having, why are you pre-diabetic? Why are you, developing high blood pressure? Why are you developing all these other things when gastritis and things like that? And you're like, wait a minute, you don't look like someone that should be having these issues at this age, right? And again, it has to do with all of that. For me, Miss Marlene, and I'm gonna put this because we're talking about, the experiences that you and I have. This is what we do here. For me, in my marriage, I think that the biggest problem or the biggest form of abuse was the screaming, the shouting, the verbal abuse. when I said
Mhm.
that the word. I'm sorry, but for me, that's what it was. I had PTSD from that because it was so much, so often, and so in the you know in the top of their tongue. It just unleashed all kinds of crazy, verbal abuses. And I was so scared of triggering that because it will be sometimes for hours that this person will be going on and on and on and on and on and on. And I was getting to the point where I couldn't sleep. I was losing a lot of weight. I was losing my hair. And this went on for years. I didn't come from a household where my father was um, abusive like that. And I'm going to say the word again, I'm sorry. But my father wasn't like that. He didn't verbally, abuse us in any way. He didn't shout on the top of his lungs. He didn't use the I mean, how can I put it? Um, how can like v- bad words, right? He didn't demean us in that way. He didn't use
Sanity.
words that, yeah, that he didn't use any profanity. My father, like, he probably used it outside the house, but to talk to us, he never used profanity. And this person will, start yelling at the top of his lungs, using a lot of profanity, calling me names that I didn't even know sometimes what they meant. And I had to kind of grab back then in the beginning of the dictionary because I had no idea what it meant. And then when I started understanding what they meant, it was so painful to be called those names because I wasn't any of that. So because I was the type that stays quiet when I'm being yelled at, I stay quiet because I panic. And I'm the type that before I speak to you, I think before I speak. And that's something that I've done since I was little. So for me, it was worse because I would stay quiet. I wouldn't answer back. So this person thought that I was mocking him or disrespecting. So he will yell even more. So
Mhm.
for 20 plus years of that, Miss Marlene, you get, I mean, a horrible case of PTSD. It took me years, Miss Marlene, to have. I will explain to my kids, oh, I'm sorry, I was gonna do the dishes, but and my kids will be like, Mom, it's okay. Like, we'll do them. Don't worry. It's okay. Do them there. It took me a while to get okay with not completing a chore because I was to the point where if a chore was not completed, when that person came back or whatever, it will be heck to pay, right? So, and because again, because I stay quiet, I don't want to be, because like my dad used to say, two crazies don't make a sane, and I understand what he meant. I was not gonna be on and on and on with him one on one. No, I would just let him yell. But it took a toll on my health. I started developing a lot of health issues, and I had a very very low blood pressure, and the weight, Miss Marlene, was just coming off. Like I wasn't even dieting or anything. I was just, my weight would just, like, I will go down almost sometimes. I already had three kids and I was only 115 pounds,
Hmm.
120 the most. And I couldn't gain anymore because I was so stressed out. I was run, run, run all day from job to school to kids, and there was no time for me. There was no time for me. And then the worry that, did I finish the laundry? Did I fold everything? Did I put everything away? Did I leave the dishes? No, no, I think I put them on the sink. That on itself creates a lot of stress on you.
And Miss Nexie,
There
I
was
have to.
one,
Oh, go ahead, Miss Nexie.
I just have to tell you one more thing, that it if it happened 100 times, it happened 500 times. Whenever we were gonna go somewhere, a trip somewhere, camping, a vacation, I will cook breakfast before we left. And right before I was getting ready to take the kids on to the car, whatever, If there was a dish that I didn't finish washing, it will be, "Are you kidding me? Are you gonna leave this house the way it is?" Ah, ah," and it will start yelling again. And I was like, it would ruin the entire trip because at this point, I'm already freaking out because I'm thinking, be the entire trip? Oh my God. Should I go? Should I cancel? No, because if I cancel, he's gonna get upset. So I will have to put on this face of happiness and no matter what, because I had to make sure that the kids were okay. That he wasn't yelling in front of the kids. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it was all the time. Every time when if there was trash in in the trash can, I didn't take out the bag. Is this how you're gonna leave the house? So you're taking off the kids to the car, and this is how you're gonna leave the house? The house is a mess. I'm like, but we're gonna be back. Oh, yeah, but that's what you want to come back to? And I'll be like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? So I will have to make sure that nothing was left undone so that we can have a nice vacation. And
Yeah,
this
and
happened over and over and over and over.
that's so exhausting.
It
My thing,
is.
my thing, Miss Nexie, was that I want to add to what you said was, well, a lot of times in marriages that there is not a balance when it comes to the load of responsibilities. There's a lot of unsaid things like
Mhm.
expectations. And I find personally, as a woman, that it's not a lot of balance when it comes to if you have somebody that does not think about you, that
Mhm.
it down like, would you like something to drink? It's always, get me this, get me that, cook this, clean that, do this, do that. It's always for you to serve and help them, but it's never, can I help you with something?
Mhm.
No,
E e exactly,
no.
and I had 3 at some point, I had 3 kids under 6, you know what I mean? You have to get everything ready for them, snacks, full extra clothing, diapers if you need to, everything, and nobody helps you. So you're stressing out making sure that you got everything, and then you have to make sure that as soon as you feed everyone, because oh no no no, we're not gonna go without breakfast. We have to eat before. Oh, and we gotta leave at a certain time because if you're not ready at that time, that's another yelling match. Like it will go crazy again. I knew I wanted to leave at this time. I can't believe you're not ready. Blah blah blah. And it was like to the point that I didn't want to go anywhere. If he will plan something, I'll be like, you know what? Maybe we should just stay home. It's going to be crowded, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. I will start saying ahead of time, let's not plan it, because I knew that by the time we got there, it will have already been I will have already been yelled at least 3 to 4 times, and I'm stressed out with the kids, and I'm this and I'm that, and again, there was a point where people would tell me like, are you okay, are you sick, because I was so skinny, Miss Marlene. I was skin and bones
Mm.
from so much stress. So
And
switch
guess
that.
what, Miss
You
Nexie? They don't think that anything is wrong with you because they're
No,
not ever thinking about you. And if you're okay, you need something, it's all about them.
no, no, and the people that tell you this, are you okay because you have such a wonderful husband? What's bothering you? You have such a wonderful marriage. You have such a beautiful house. I mean, what could be bothering you, right? But for me, coming from a household, Miss Marlene, where my father, there was no gender. There was gender equality in our household. My father would put my brothers and us to clean the house. My brothers do dishes, they mop, they broom, they clean, they undusted. We did everything. My dad didn't have girls cook and clean and the boys sit down. My dad didn't do that because he raised us with equality. So coming from a household like that to come into a marriage where they were used to the wife doing everything for them and they would just sit down and wait for the meal, right? So for me it was a culture shock because even though we're both, Hispanic, we are totally different on our upbringing. So I had no help, and now I have someone that is a male, and I have to do everything for. So yeah, it was a lot of that. I had a lot of anxiety. I had a lot of sleepless nights. A lot of you know a- alone, crying alone as much as I could, and I couldn't eat. Like, if I will sit down, and then one of the kids will cry, so I will get up because he wouldn't get up. And then the other one want to go to the restroom, so I will have to get up again, interrupt my meal because the other one wanted to go to the restroom. And then, hey, you didn't give me anything to drink. Where's my drink? So you have to get up and get him his drink because God forbids he will get up and do it himself, right? So, you go all like till the kids are like probably like 12, 13, and then one of your daughters tells their father, "Don't you have two arms and two legs to get the F up and go get your own drink? Leave my mother alone. Let her eat." It takes for that to happen, for this person to, okay, again, explode and say, "You're teaching her this." So you're never right. You're never correct. You're never okay. It's always something. And I got so tired of that, Miss Marlene, that, when we got separated when we ended, I think I was relieved. I think I was, for the first time, breathing after 20 plus years,
Yep, Miss.
enjoying and actually thinking, and again,
Yep.
breathing and being okay with my solitude. I missed it, and I didn't even know how much I missed my solitude.
Me, Miss Nexie, it's the complaining. And I hate to be one of those people like that, but just like they say that men are about respect in a marriage, but for women, it's the nagging. Like, I
Mm.
thinking, it's like, okay, you come home from work, and it's like picking everything apart. Oh, this isn't done. That's not done. What did you even do all day? And this and this and it's never come home and say, "Hi, how was your day? Is everything okay?" Positive things. It's like they come home and unleash whatever happened to them that day by picking apart the home that is supposed to be a space of serenity and peace and love. And you can't have that. It's like, I don't know. I don't know how to unpack that, but that's just the way that I feel that
It,
a lot of times men don't know how to handle their problems on the outside, and they take it home and spaz out on their wife,
it,
and then they
yeah,
complain, angry wife.
and we're not saying every man, right, Miss Marlene? We're talking about my ex-husband, and we're talking about your ex as well. We're not talking about every man, and we're not men hating here. We're just talking about the experiences we had,
Right.
right? It wasn't like, and the worst thing is that I work full time too. It wasn't like I was at home doing nothing. You know what
Mm,
I mean? And I had three kids, three little kids, and I was working full time, and I was cooking and cleaning and everything. And so, for for everybody out there that doesn't know this, but I did not know, Miss Marlene, how abusive my marriage had been, verbally, right, mentally, and emotionally as well, until I started therapy
yeah,
again. I didn't realize how much had gone on, how dimmed my light was from all of the abuse from everywhere. Because people say that, well, abuse is only when they hit you, or they leave bruises. No, there is internal scars in your heart, in your head, and in your mind, and in your everything that never heal.
yeah.
That they're there, they never heal because they went on for so long. And
Mhm.
I didn't know that I was being that abused until therapy, when I started going through everything. And that's when he explained to me that that was actually abuse. And I said, no, it wasn't. It's just that that's how he was. That's how he was raised. He said, no, no, no. That is verbal abuse.
Mhm.
I said, really? Yes, that is emotional abuse too, and mental, because all that anguish, all of that, that is mental. And I was like, what? I didn't
Yep.
even know, Miss Marlene. I didn't even know that that's what it was, because when you're in there, you're so trying to survive and to make your marriage work, and so that your kids can have a complete family. You're so caught up on that because, again, from generation to generation to generation, that's how grandpa was. That's how uncle so and so is. That's how your cousin blah 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 is with so and so. So it's normal. It's okay. That's how men are, or that's how women are. That's how marriage is. They
Mhm.
don't tell you that's not normal. That's not right. And
That's
it
not.
shouldn't be happening to you.
Yep. And Miss Nexie, also with that, what I learned in marriage that it's not okay to be abandoned. And there's a lot of women and men that you can be married and be lonely.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
Yep.
understand therapy and all of those things, unpacking it, but you can be in a relationship with somebody and feel completely isolated because, giving you the silent treatment, ghosting you, not talking about things is that is a form of abuse, because if
Mhm.
will communicate with you. There's days, weeks, months, whatever go by, and it's just, just talking to you, or just looks or grunts or whatever, rolling their eyes at you. That is, that's not okay.
Miss, yeah, Miss Martin, exactly. Or the, are you an effing, you don't see it, you don't get it? Are you that,
Are you
you
that
know what
dumb?
I mean?
Yeah.
Are you that stupid? Are you that stupid that you don't get it? Wow, at your age? Wow. And again, you're like, "Oh my god, yeah, you're right, I didn't get it." You don't think that that is abuse. That's a verbal. That you shouldn't be, that shouldn't be said to you. Again, there's so many things that you don't understand in the relationship because you're so used to that treatment, Miss Marlene, that you accept that as normal. Oh, that's
Yep.
just how he is. And just give him a moment. He'll be okay. He'll apologize in about an hour or so. That's how he is. He flies off the handle, but he'll be fine in about an hour. He'll apologize to me, so no problem. And again, you're so into caught up with. Oh, I have three little ones. I have to be here because I don't want my kids to be raised in a single family household. And I remember when I first got separated, I think I've said it here before, and I think I've told you that I was talking to my children, after we got separated, and this is like a few months after, and we were sitting down at the table, and I told them, because there were some school activities, and I'm like, you know what? I said that's why I never wanted to get divorced, because I didn't want you guys to be raised just by a single mother, not having both parents here. And then one of my daughters said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, yeah, now I'm going to have to go to the activities alone. Your father is not going to be able to come, I guess, or we're going to be in separate, cars or whatever. So it's you've been raised by a single mom." And my daughter said, "Mom, you were always a single mom. My dad was never here. My dad was always working. He hardly ever attended any of our games, our tournaments, our getting up at 5 in the morning to drop me off at practice the entire winter. Like, my dad never did that. You were the one always with us." And that's when I realized that I had been a single mom for a very long time without even knowing it.
Wow. Yeah,
And
and
that
I
they realized that.
yeah, and I just put something in the chat there, Miss Nexie, that you can be single and married. Tell
Yes, yes, Miss Marlene.
me
Yes,
that.
you can.
But if you really think about it, you can be married to somebody and doing all of the things, but if you are the only one putting in the work, planning trips, doing this, going to things by yourself, everything is you have to make the decisions. You have to step up. You have to do it, and you don't have that emotional support, that financial support, that what any form of support, there's nothing there for you. If it's only focused on them, that's that's not a marriage. You're actually just in like a roommate situation.
Exactly, exactly.
Roommates, that's not a marriage.
Yeah, and sometimes, Miss Marlene, you need somebody else to point that out to you. You're literally like when my daughter said that, I was like, "Oh my God, you're right." But then I was like, "Oh my God, you actually noticed?" Like, yeah, we've noticed for many, many years, Mom. So we're gonna be okay. Don't worry about it. And I was shocked and relief at the same time because I'm over here worrying that they were gonna miss, the family unit and not thinking that we weren't a family unit. I was just a single mom raising kids
Mhm.
with
To
in a marriage.
find out
I was,
this next see, you have been single for the entire marriage.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. I have been a single mother for my entire marriage. But it sometimes it takes for you to step away from that situation. And sometimes, you like I'm glad that I got the help that I needed to be able to work through my PTSD and to be able to work through my fears and my worries and everything. I'm always going to worry because, I'm a mother. They're my kids, right? I'm always going to worry about them. But the worry I had that if we broke up or if, I decided to leave him, they were going to be scarred, deeply or whatever, I am very relieved that that wasn't the case, that they were okay, they were actually happier that way because we had a more harmonious household. They were happier, we had more laughs, we had more together time, watching a movie, watching a series, watching whatever, just sitting down talking, reading, and we didn't have to worry about so and so is coming, so pretend that you're busy. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have to go through, and they didn't have to go through that anymore. On weekends too, like what are we gonna do this weekend? Are we gonna do this? We didn't have to plan anymore. We could just relax and let the weekend happen
Right.
without having to plan everything because that's another thing. Everything had to be planned, Miss Marlene. It
Mhm.
couldn't be spontaneous. It had to be planned. Everything had to be planned. Or
If
he
you're
was gonna be in a bad mood.
And if you're anything like me, Miss Nexie, who you're a spontaneous person, which I know that I am, I'm not much a
Yeah.
planner person. I am more, well, now I am, now that I've gotten, in the past few years, I've learned because you have to be planned. But there are certain things like just get up and go. And it would be like
Yeah.
the whole thing, like it's such a big deal. Why do we have to go right now? Why can't we go? And
Mhm.
it's always an excuse about time to spend together. And for me, Miss Next, that's weird. It should,
Yes.
it should be a wonderful thing. Like, yay, we get to spend time together. It should be a happy thing. Let's hang out. Let's have fun. And all, and it becomes that by the time you get wherever you're going, it's like your hair is standing up on end.
Yes. You're so exhausted already, emotionally, physically, mentally, that you're just there because you know that your kids are going to have a great time. That's pretty much all you are there for. Because you know that at one point or another, this person is going to go crazy on you or on your way home, right? It's going to be something that happened that you didn't do right. or you didn't do it on time, or you didn't prepare, or you weren't ready, or whatever. So I, for me, was so planned that I was like, just you plan it, whatever you want to do, we'll do it. That way, I didn't risk, being told that I was a horrible planner, or that I didn't do it right, or I can't believe you, this is what you wanted to do, or whatever. So I just allowed him to plan it. You do it, you tell me where you want to go, and we'll get it done. We'll get it ready, or I'll get the kids ready, or whatever. And now, after we got separated and everything, and we'll go somewhere, we will go whenever we were ready. Not, you have to be, we gotta be out of here by 8. And if we're out of here by 8:05, it was a nightmare going to whatever we're going. It was arguing. I can't believe it. This is why I wanted to leave early. This is whatever. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's
So,
the things that I don't like about, the nitpicking and the complaining, and things always have to be perfect, and every little thing that you do when they don't talk about the things that they did,
mm-hmm.
okay? Complain about this and this and this is wrong and this is wrong. But who is the one that put everything together and packed and planned the trip and paid for it? And you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
all you basically have to do is show up, and you're complaining. And it's just like, I can't do this anymore.
Or you pack everything, and then I can't believe you forgot the toothpaste. Really? You forgot the toothpaste? I can't believe you didn't put it in there. Well, then what? You told me you had everything ready, and I'm like, dude, like, just go buy one. I'm sure they got some at some, convenience store or whatever. Even, places where little store around the corner, they have little toothpaste. Yeah, but I mean, why do we have to be spending like that when we have it at home? It's like, oh my God. That's how bad it was, Miss Marlene. That's how bad it was. And again, I'm not saying that all the years were bad. I'm not saying that. There were good times too. There were good times, birth of our kids, the first, little milestones they did, the achievements, and you know mm, watching them grow, and sometimes celebrating birthdays or Christmases, whatever. Yeah, there were good things. I'm not saying that, but the few good things doesn't outweigh the whole horrible things that happen. there
Mhm.
were there were a lot more bad than it was good.
Yep,
But then
and that's
again, you have that mentality of, so and so was like that too. I mean, at least this one doesn't throw, anything that he has on his hands on me or to the wall. At least, he respects a little bit, waits until everybody leaves so that he can go off on me, right? My so and so uncle didn't do it, so at least I'm a lot better off than my cousin or my auntie, whatever. So you have people telling you those things, and you normalize that it's okay. You make it normal. It's okay. It's not that bad. At least he's better than so and so.
yep,
Nobody tells you that that's not acceptable. That is abuse. Mental.
and you feel like you have to take it. And the point of this conversation is that you don't.
Exactly. You don't have to. But you don't have many people, not, they don't say that to you, right? They're like, "Oh yeah, I get it. He's this is that, but look, I mean, look at you, you live in a beautiful place. Come on. You have a swimming pool, the kids have a big house to run around. You don't have to live in apartments like us or so and so. You look at you. You have a beautiful, beautiful family." Yeah, he is like that, but come on. What they don't know, they don't tell you, is that you're working your butt off to have what you got. That it wasn't just him getting it for you. You have to pull your own weight because there's no support any other way. So, and again, until you walk away from all of that, is when you start realizing that's not normal. And that's when you start voicing to others, what you're going through, that's not normal. That shouldn't be like that. But, whatever.
Yeah, but we live, we learn, we have the conversations, and we, hopefully say this is a good relationship, and I mean the ones that are not just verbal, but also are physical, are financial, a combination of all of those factors is a recipe for disaster, a recipe for unhappiness, and will make you physically ill. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not what we need, and it's not what we deserve. So we could go on and on with this topic for a whole nother hour. We're gonna break right here, and we're gonna reconvene on another topic. But I just want to say to everybody that, me and Miss Nexie, we're not therapists. We're not telling people what to do in their marriages or anything like that. We share what has happened in our lives in hopes that maybe somebody says, that happened to me too. And I took that for a long time, or I took whatever, or something else happened that was similar, but it was ABUSC. And that wasn't good because I'm tired of seeing people stay into relationships, and it's very toxic, and they're very unhappy, they're miserable, and they're taking it out on everybody else. And for me, it was to the point where you don't even have your own life. And yeah, I think I'm going to stop right there. I'll let you say what you want.
No, yeah, again, Miss Marlene, you are correct. This is all about us and our families, the experiences we have lived, and things that we have seen that go on in our own families, and how sometimes it's so important for you to break those cycles, right? It's important for you to say, hey, this is enough. You shouldn't treat me like that. You shouldn't treat that person like that, or stop normalizing abuse. I'm sorry, I had to say that word again. You have to stop normalizing it, because verbal, physical, and mental is not a normal thing that should be happening. Nobody should have to go through that. Nobody. And nobody has the right to abuse you in any way, shape, or form. So the more you stop normalizing this, the more awareness, the next generations are going to have, because nobody should be treated that way. So let's hope that by having conversations like the ones we have here with Miss Marlene, we help people break those cycles, and we help people understand that certain things, even though it seem normal in our households, doesn't necessarily mean they are normal or they are okay. So let's break those, bad, horrible cycles we have in our families sometimes when it comes to abuse. And let's teach our daughters and our sons not to allow anyone to abuse them in any way, shape, or form, or them abuse anyone in any way, shape, or form.
Yep, because it goes on both sides, both genders, the toxicity, the ABUSE, the dysfunction, the manipulation, the control, you know, all of it is wrong. So,
Hmm.
and like I said, here are my final words in the comment section. If you're someone you know is being ABUSED, get away, get help, and do what is ever's necessary so that you can feel good about yourself. This channel is all about trauma healing. And it's not until we step away, like Miss Nexie said, before we can identify that, hmm, that was not a good relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my final words will be James. Hi. That's what I wanted to say, Miss Marlene. I already said him, and I couldn't have said it better than you just did. I just want to say hi to James.
So
And
thank
thank
you
you
guys.
for having me.
Thank you so much, Miss Nexie, my wonderful co-host. And shout out to all of my amazing mods, supporters, channel members. Thank you guys so much. And to anybody who is new, feel free to subscribe to the channel, hit the like, and join channel membership. It starts at 99 cents. If you guys who are my channel members will notice, I have been doing some videos and some live streams, really heavier topics and conversations. So make sure if you're a channel member to check out those topics. Thank you guys so
Oh,
much.
yes. And there's
Mhm.
more to come, more hot topics to come. Oh, yes.
Actually,
On the members only.
members
Bye,
only.
everyone.
Gonna leave with this point from James. Don't protect your ABUSER because they are not protecting you.
Yeah,
Amen.
exactly, James. Amen to that, James. Exactly. Well, Miss Marlene, I'll see you next week on another sip and chat. And we are gonna have a members only in I think a couple of days with me and Miss Marlene.
Yeah,
Bye,
it's gonna be
everyone.
you, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.